They watched the human drop pod fall through the storm, and the council room filled with quiet smiles, because Class 15 did not forgive anyone. Varric Prime was a world the star maps marked in warning red. Heavy gravity that bent bones, air that burned lungs slowly, storms that came without mercy, predators that hunted like soldiers. Even the ground felt alive. The Galactic Council called it a relocation. A peaceful answer. Humans had become a problem. They did not obey borders. They did not fear threats. So the Council chose a silent end. Giant screens showed the Deathworld sky, orange clouds rolling like fire waves, green lightning cutting the darkness. The human pod was a bright falling spark. Then it vanished into the cloud sea. Seconds later, the ground cameras shook. A deep impact hit like a hammer. The pod appeared again, half buried in black ash. Some council members leaned forward. They expected screaming. They expected fear. They expected humans to beg. Down on the surface, the pod lay broken on its side. Inside, it smelled of smoke and metal. Captain Ryan Hale opened his eyes and felt gravity crush his chest. Every breath became hard work. He blinked and forced his body to move. Sarah Michael was coughing near the back. Tom Reyes gripped a broken brace and tried to stand. Gene Park groaned and held his ribs. Ryan spoke slow and steady. Stay calm. Check your body. Save air. Tom looked at the emergency panel. Signal dead. Beacon dead. Everything dead. Ryan understood the truth. They were meant to die here. No rescue. No return. He crawled to the hatch. It was bent inward. Tom pushed beside him. Metal groaned. The hatch opened enough. Hot air rushed in. It carried ash and something sharp that burned the throat. Ryan slid out first. The sky was orange and dark at the same time. Clouds moved fast like angry waves. The ground was black ash with red stone. Steam rose from cracks. Far hills looked like broken teeth. Ryan took one step and almost fell. Gravity was worse outside. His boots sank into warm ash. Each breath felt heavy. Sarah stepped out and stared wide-eyed. Tom followed and dropped to one knee. Jean stumbled after them. Tom whispered, "This world is crushing me." Ryan helped him up. Slow steps, short moves, save strength. Above them, two dark shapes drifted through the clouds. They moved smooth and silent. Drones. Sarah noticed. They are watching. Ryan nodded. The council wants proof. They want a lesson. Ryan scanned the crash area. Broken metal plates, wires, foam, and cloth. Two emergency packs spilled open. He spoke to the team. First shelter, then clean air, then water. Tom opened a pack. 2 water tubes, 1 knife, 3 heat strips, a small medical roll. That is all. Sarah used her scanner. Power low. Toxins present. Not instant death, but dangerous. Ryan pointed to tall rocks nearby. We build there. Wind block. Cover. They dragged metal plates with slow, painful effort. Gravity made every pull feel like moving a wall. They leaned the plates against the rocks, making a rough barrier. Jean searched the pod and found a small hand torch with 1 charge, and wire, and a cutting tool. Tom tied plates together with wire. His fingers shook, but he kept working. Sarah walked near a steaming crack and picked up dark stones. Smooth like glass. Warm, inner gloves. Ryan asked, "What is that?" Sarah said, "It holds heat, like it is eating it." Tom touched one and frowned. Not normal rock. Ryan placed the stones in a shallow pit under cloth scraps. Tom struck sparks using metal edges. Wind fought the flame. But after long seconds, the cloth caught. A small fire breathed to life. The fire gave them warmth and light, but the air still scratched their throats. Ryan looked at the clouds. Dark bands were forming fast. He felt the storm coming. He said, "We need masks now." They tore cloth, cut foam, tied it with wire. Simple filters over mouth and nose. Then the wind suddenly paused. Silence fell heavy. Ash stopped moving. Even the fires stopped flickering. A low sound came from far away, deep and slow. Then another answer. Sarah froze. "Something is calling." Ryan whispered, "Predators. Stay close." The horizon changed. A massive shadow rose from the fog line. Two dull red lights, open like eyes. Far away, but watching. Tom breathed. "What is that?" Sarah whispered. "A nightmare." Then the storm hit. Wind slammed the rocks. Ash flew like knives. The metal plates shook. The fire bent flat. They pressed down and held the barrier. Sarah coughed. Jean shook. Tom tied the last wire tight. Ryan counted breaths. Slow. Steady. The storm weakened a little. Ryan lifted his head. The red eyes were gone, but the ground began to tremble. Deep and heavy. The ash under their feet moved like water. Circling their camp. Sarah stared. "Something is under us." Tom gripped the knife. "It is hunting." Ryan forced his voice calm. "Do not stomp. Do not shout. This world listens." The moving ash followed the warm stones near the fire. It shifted closer. A black ridge broke the surface like a fin. Smooth. Hard. Like armor. Sarah whispered. "That is metal." Tom stared. A creature with armor. Ryan felt cold inside. This was not just a death world. It was a trap that learned. The ridge vanished back into the ash, and the silence returned for one heartbeat. Then a weak voice cracked through the broken pod radio. Old, damaged, but clear enough. "Welcome back, Terrence. Trial has begun." Ryan looked into the dark sky and understood something terrible. The council sent them here to die, but the death world was ready to test them, and it already knew their name. The first night on Varric Prime did not feel like night, it felt like a mouth closing. Ryan Hale kept his back against the rock wall and watched the fire like it was the last star in the universe. The flames were small now. Wind kept stealing the heat. Ash kept falling like dirty snow. Every breath felt thick inside his mask. Tom sat on one knee, holding the hand torch close. One charge only. His fingers were stiff from cold and pressure. Sarah stayed near the broken pod, radio staring at it like it was a ghost. Jean stood a little higher on the rocks, looking into the darkness. His eyes moved left and right like prey. The message kept repeating every few minutes. "Welcome back, Terrence. Trial has begun." Ryan did not like that voice. It did not sound human, but it used human words, like something learned them from bones. Sarah whispered, "This means someone built something here, and it knows our language." Tom spoke low. "Or someone died here, and the planet copied them." Jean swallowed. "Captain, what do we do if this is a trap inside a trap?" Ryan answered calm, even when fear sat in his chest. "We do what humans always do. We learn fast. We survive. We move at first light." A deep wind passed over the rocks. It carried a smell like iron and wet stone. Then came the distant call again, slow and heavy. Another answer followed. "Closer now." Jean whispered. "They're talking." Ryan listened. He could not see shapes yet, but he felt eyes on them, not from the drones in the sky, from the dark ground itself. The ash beneath their camp shifted slightly. A soft ripple, not wind, something moving under the surface. The same hunter that tested them before, maybe more than one. Tom tightened his grip on the knife. Ryan raised a hand. "Stay still." Minutes passed like hours. The fire popped once. Then the silence returned. Too clean, too perfect. Then a sound came. Not a growl, not a roar. A sharp click pattern. From the edge of the firelight. Sarah froze. Tom lifted the torch, but did not activate it. Jean leaned forward, ready to strike. A shape stepped into the light. Low and smooth, covered in black plates. No eyes, only small glowing points that shifted. Its claws pressed into ash without sound. It tilted its head toward the fire, then toward Ryan, as if it remembered him. Ryan slowly lifted a piece of metal bar. Not to attack, to look ready. The creature clicked again. Then it dragged something behind it. A long strip of torn fabric, gray and old, with a human emergency mark stitched on it. Sarah whispered, "That is from a suit." Ryan felt cold spread through him. Humans were never supposed to be here before, but the planet showed proof. The creature moved closer, one slow step, then stopped. The glowing points on its face shifted, like scanning their masks, their hands, their fire, their fear. Then it turned and vanished into the ash like it melted. No sound, no dust, just gone. Tom whispered, "It is testing us like we are the prey." Ryan answered, "No, it is studying us like we are the new threat." The ground trembled again, stronger than before. Rocks vibrated under their palms. The fire pit cracked. Warm stones rolled and glowed brighter, like they enjoyed the movement. Sarah stared at the stones. "Captain, these stones are reacting. They are getting hotter." Tom looked at the soil. The ash is moving toward them again. Ryan made a fast choice. Move the fire. Now. They pulled the fire pit stones and pushed them closer to the rock wall. They built a new small hole between stones. To hide the light. To hide the heat. Jean laid flat on the rock and listened. "I hear more than one now. Under us. Around us." Then the sky above flashed. Green lightning lit the clouds. For 1 second, the whole world was visible. And in that single second, they saw shapes on the hills. Many. Not huge, but enough. Black, plated bodies crouched low, forming a ring around the camp. When darkness returned, the ring still existed. They could feel it, like teeth around a throat. Tom whispered, "They are waiting for us to sleep." Sarah spoke softly. "They are smart. They know what sleep means." Ryan forced his breathing slow. "We do not sleep all at once. We take turns. Short turns." No one argued. They all knew one mistake could end everything. Minutes later, Ryan took first watch. Tom rested with eyes open. Sarah held the scanner close like a comfort object. Jean tried to sleep, but kept waking when the ash shifted. Then the radio voice changed. It did not repeat the same message. It spoke new words. Slow. Broken. Like old metal grinding. Follow the heat stone. Seek the spine. Live. Sarah sat up fast. "Did you hear that?" Tom whispered. It changed. Ryan stared at the radio. "It is guiding us." Jean looked confused. "Why would it guide us?" Ryan answered, "Because this world wants a winner, not a corpse." The air grew colder, and the wind became calm again. That unnatural calm. The calm before a kill. Then the ground under the camp opened. Not fully, just a thin crack. But it was enough for black steam to rise. The steam smelled like deep earth and burning oil. Sarah coughed. "Toxic." Tom held his mask tight. Ryan pulled everyone closer to the rock wall. The crack widened, and something rose from it. Not a hunter, not a beast. A metal spine like a long blade, covered in symbols. Old markings. Some alien. Some human. Ryan stared. That is not natural. The spine lifted higher, and the ash around it moved like water pulling away, making a clean circle. Then a light turned on inside the spine. A small orange glow, the same color as their warm stones. Sarah whispered, "It is powered by the stones." The spine made a low hum, and a small panel opened on its side. Inside the panel was a human helmet. Old, scratched, covered in ash, but clear enough to see the earth symbol on the front. Jean gasped. "That helmet is ours." Tom whispered, "A missing team, a lost expedition." Ryan touched the helmet slowly and felt cold metal. It was real. A memory came to him. Years ago, Earth ships vanished near the outer edges. No wrecks found. No signals. Just gone. Vera Prime was the answer. Then the hunters moved. The ring of black shapes rushed in. Fast. Silent. They came from all directions. Claws cutting ash. Bodies low. Faces scanning. Tom activated the torch in panic. A beam of light exploded into the darkness. The hunters flinched for a second, then kept coming. Ryan shouted, "To the spine." Now. They ran with heavy steps. Gravity fought them. Ash grabbed their boots. Wind tried to push them down. One hunter leaped at Jean. Jean swung his metal bar. It hit the creature, and sparks flew. The hunter rolled, but did not die. It was armor, not flesh. Sarah screamed without sound. Ryan pulled her forward. Tom stumbled and almost fell. Ryan grabbed his arm and lifted him. They reached the metal spine. It hummed louder, like it recognized their approach, like it wanted them inside. Ryan pushed the helmet into Sarah's hands. "Hold it." Then he saw another panel opening. A dark doorway, just big enough for humans. Inside the doorway was not darkness. It was deep orange light. Warm. Alive. The hunters were only seconds away. Ryan made the final choice. Inside, they jumped into the opening. One by one, Tom dragged Jean in at the last moment. A claw snapped at Jean's heel and missed. The doorway closed like a mouth shutting. Metal sealed. Sound vanished. Outside, the hunters slammed against the spine, but could not enter. Inside, the humans fell onto a metal floor. Warm under their hands. Air cleaner. Lighter. Still heavy, but not poisonous. Sarah whispered with shaking breath. "Where are we?" Ryan stared into the orange corridor ahead and spoke the truth. "We are inside the Deathworld, and just saved us." Then the corridor lights turned on one after another, leading deeper underground, and the radio voice echoed from the walls. "Welcome back, Terrence. Next trial begins now." The corridor lights turned on one after another like a sleeping beast opening its eyes. Ryan Hale pushed himself up from the warm metal floor and felt the difference at once. The air was cleaner, still thick, still heavy, but did not burn his lungs. The gravity was the same crushing weight, yet the floor did not shift like ash. It felt solid and safe. Tom sat up, slowly rubbing his chest. "We are inside it," he whispered. "Inside the planet." Sarah held the old helmet tight against her body. Her hands were shaking. "This helmet is real. This means other humans came here, and they did not leave." Jean stared back at the sealed doorway. Behind that metal wall, the hunters were still there. He could hear faint scratches, soft clicks, like nails on glass. They were waiting. Ryan breathed slow. "They will not stop. They will learn. But we have time now." The corridor ahead was long and curved. Orange lights ran along the walls like veins. Symbols were carved into the metal. Some alien shapes. Some lines that looked strangely familiar. Tom leaned closer to a symbol and touched it. It responded. The lines lit up under his fingers, like it recognized human skin. Sarah whispered, "It is reacting to us." Ryan looked around for traps. No weapons aimed. No gas. No alarms. Only that deep hum from inside the walls. A sound like a giant heart beating slow. Then the voice returned. Not from the radio now. From everywhere. From the walls and the floor. From the air itself. "Follow the path. Earn the right. Do not fear the dark." Jean whispered. "It knows we are here." Tom answered. "It wanted us here." Ryan did not like that truth, but he could not deny the evidence. The doorway opened when they needed it. The lights guided them forward, and the symbols responded to their touch. He spoke low. "We move. No standing still. This place is not a gift. It is a test." They walked forward. Each step felt slow under the crushing gravity, but the metal floor gave strong support. No ash pulling them down. No storm wind slicing their skin. It felt like walking inside a giant ship. The corridor widened, then became a chamber. In the center stood a tall pillar made of black stone, the same stone Sarah found outside. But this pillar was huge and smooth. It glowed faint orange from inside, like lava trapped behind glass. Around the pillar were metal platforms, tools, old crates, and bones, human bones. Sarah stopped breathing for a moment. Her eyes filled with water. She stepped closer. "These are human." Ryan walked beside her. He saw the truth. A broken human suit, a torn glove, a cracked chest plate. Earth-made. Tom found a small tag near the bones. He lifted it carefully. It had a name scratched on it, and a date. 2 decades old. Jean whispered. "So the missing ships. They came here." Sarah nodded slowly. "This place ate them." Ryan felt anger rise in his chest. Not at the planet, but at the council. They knew. They sent humans here before, maybe many times, and never told the galaxy. Tom looked at the pillar. "Captain, look. There's a slot here." Ryan saw it. A thin opening shaped like a human hand. A scanner. Waiting. He made a choice. He pressed his palm against it. The pillar pulsed. Orange light flared brighter. The hum grew stronger, and the chamber floor shifted. Metal plates moved aside, revealing a new path downward. A ramp leading into deeper orange light. The voice spoke again. Stronger now. Less broken. Adapt. Build. Claim. Jean took a step back. "This is not a message. This is an order." Ryan looked at his team. "We have no choice. Outside is death. Inside is danger. But inside has answers. They moved down the ramp. The air became warmer. The walls became smoother. And the symbols changed. Less alien. More human. Tom noticed first. Captain, these markings. They look like early Earth code. Old navigation lines. Old ship language. Sarah stared at the wall. Why would this place use human code? Unless humans made it. Ryan stopped. That thought hit him like a sudden strike. Humans could not make a death world. Not with this power. Not long ago. But maybe, long ago, they reached another chamber. Bigger than the first. This one had rows of metal pods like coffins. Some open. Some closed. Each pod had a clear window. Fog from inside. Gene walked closer and wiped one window with his sleeve. A face appeared behind the glass. Not human. Alien. Its skin was gray. Its eyes closed. Its body thin. Sleeping. Or dead. Sarah whispered. They kept them here. Tom touched the pod edge. It vibrated softly. Life support. Ryan looked at the rows. Hundreds of pods. Maybe thousands. Aliens from many species. Some small. Some huge. All sleeping. Gene whispered. This is a prison. Ryan nodded. Or a museum. Then one pod opened with a hiss. Fog rolled out. The alien inside did not wake. It fell forward like a sack. Sarah jumped back. The body hit the floor with a dull thud. Its chest did not rise. It was dead. The voice spoke again. Trial is simple. Choose. Tom looked around. Choose what? A light turned on above two doors on opposite sides of the chamber. One door had a symbol like a flame. The other had a symbol like an eye. Sarah whispered, fire or sight. Gene pointed to the flame door. Fire means power. Maybe weapons. Tom pointed to the eye door. I means knowledge. Maybe control. Ryan listened to the deep hum. He felt the planet watching them. Not with hatred. With curiosity. Then the hunters scratched the sealed doorway far behind them. Faint but real. They were still trying. Still learning. Time was running. Ryan made the decision. We picked the eye. Tom wanted to argue but stopped. He trusted Ryan. Sarah held the old helmet and nodded. Gene swallowed fear and followed. They moved toward the eye door. As they approached, the symbols lit up. The door opened without sound. Inside was a narrow hallway. And at the end, a single room. In the center of that room floated a sphere of orange light, like a small sun trapped in a cage. The moment Ryan stepped in, the sphere reacted. It sent thin light threads into the air, touching his suit, his mask, his skin. A wave of warmth passed through his body. Not heat, information, like something scanning his mind. Sarah gasped. It is reading us. Tom whispered. It is learning our thoughts. Gene tried to step back, but the door closed behind them. Soft and final. Then the sphere spoke. Clear now. Not broken. Terrence, you survived. You may claim the core. But first you must prove you are not weak. Ryan stared at the sphere. Who are you? The sphere answered without emotion. I am a guardian. This world was made to test Deathworld species. And you're the first to enter alive in a long time. Sarah whispered. Made a test. Tom looked shocked. So the council used it like a weapon. The guardian replied. The council is not the creator. They are only users. Ryan felt his heart sink. Then who made it? The sphere pulsed brighter. And the answer came like thunder in the bones. Your kind. Long ago. And at that moment the floor beneath them opened. And gravity pulled them down into darkness. As the next trial began without warning. They fell through darkness, and the world became weight and silence. Ryan Hale tried to grab the edge, but his fingers caught only air. Gravity pulled him down hard. The orange light from the sphere vanished above. Then a new light appeared below. Thin lines of orange glowing like a net waiting to catch them. Tom hit the glowing net first. It stretched but did not break. Sarah landed beside him, holding the old helmet tight. Gene rolled and groaned. Ryan landed last and felt his knees burn from the impact. For a moment, nobody spoke. They only breathed. The air here was warmer, cleaner, but heavy like deep water. The chamber they landed in was wide and round. Walls curved upward into darkness. Orange symbols moved across the metal like living ink. The floor was made of black stone that glowed faintly under their boots. Tom whispered, "This is the core level." Sarah looked around slowly. Her voice shook. "Captain, look." Ryan followed her gaze and saw it. A giant map carved into the wall. Not a star map like the Council used. This map showed lines and tunnels inside the planet. Like a machine design. Like a weapon blueprint. And in the center of the map, there was a symbol. A human symbol. Old Earth style. The same mark Ryan had seen on the hunter outside. Jean whispered, "This place was built by humans." But how? Humans never had this kind of power. Ryan stared at the symbol. His mind tried to deny it, but his eyes could not. The guardian voice returned from the walls. Calm, cold, every word clear. This world is a cradle for killers. It was made when your kind feared extinction. It was made to force evolution. Tom clenched his jaw. So humans created a hell to survive. The guardian answered, "Your ancestors called it the Forge. Only the strongest pattern may command the Forge." Sarah swallowed. Pattern. The walls shifted. Metal plates moved away, revealing a long bridge. Below it was a deep pit filled with moving shadows. Sounds rose from it. Clicks. Scrapes. Low breathing. Ryan felt his blood chill. The hunters. Many of them. Down there. The guardian spoke again. Trial 4 begins. Cross. Or be consumed. Tom looked at the bridge. It was thin. No rails. Only glowing lines to guide steps. And the gravity felt heavier near the edge. Like the pit was pulling at them. Jean whispered, "It wants us to fall." Ryan stepped forward. His boots touched the bridge. The metal under him vibrated softly. It recognized him, like it was alive. He looked back at his team. One step at a time. No panic. Sarah nodded. Her eyes locked on Ryan. Tom inhaled slow. Jean tightened his grip on the metal bar. They began crossing. Each step felt harder than the last. Gravity increased slowly. Shoulders sank. Hearts pounded. Breathing grew loud. Halfway across the bridge, the shadows below moved faster. Hunters climbed the pit walls. Their armor flashed orange in the glow. Their faces scanned upward. Sarah whispered, "They are coming." Ryan did not stop. "Keep moving." Tom stumbled. His foot slipped. The bridge tilted slightly under him. A hunter leaped from below, claws scraping the edge. Jean swung his metal bar downward. It hit the hunter head. Sparks flew. The hunter fell back into the pit. But more were climbing. The guardian voice stayed calm. "Adapt." Ryan saw a panel on the bridge floor. A hand mark. A control. He slammed his palm onto it. Orange light burst across the bridge, and a shock wave rolled outward. Hunters below screamed in clicking rage. They fell back as if burned. The bridge stabilized. Gravity eased for one breath. Tom gasped. "You controlled it." Ryan kept walking. "Not yet, but it listens." They reached the far side, and a doorway opened. Warm air flowed out. Safe air. They entered. The door sealed behind them. Inside was a small chamber, and in the center stood a simple object. A metal crown like a ring, floating above a pedestal. The guardian spoke softly. "Claim the key, and the Forge will answer." Ryan stared at the crown, and knew the next choice would change everything. Ryan Hale stared at the floating metal crown and felt the air grow heavier around it. It was not big, not shiny, not royal, but looked dangerous in a quiet way, like a blade resting on velvet. Tom stepped closer with slow, careful steps. "Captain, this is a control device. A key, maybe the main key." Sarah held the old helmet to her chest. Her eyes were wide. If humans made this, then it was made for human minds. But why hide it in a death world? Jean whispered, "Maybe because humans feared humans." The guardian voice came from the walls again. Steady, emotionless. The key responds to will. Not strength, not fear, only will. Ryan breathed slow. He reached out his hand, but stopped 1 inch away. He felt a small pressure in the air, like invisible fingers pushing back. Testing him. Tom said, "Captain, do not do it if it is a trap." Ryan looked back at his team. "Outside, the hunters will kill us. The council will erase us. Inside, we have one chance. We take it." He touched the crown. Orange light shot through the room. Symbols flared bright across the walls. The crown sank onto his head like it belonged there. It did not feel cold. It felt warm, like it was alive. Ryan gasped as images flooded his mind. Stars, ships, hidden tunnels, weapons sleeping inside the planet, and voices, old human voices, speaking about survival, about war, about extinction. Sarah grabbed his arm. Ryan, are you okay? Ryan opened his eyes slowly. His pupils looked brighter in the orange glow. He spoke in a low voice. I can feel the planet, like it is a ship, like it has systems. Tom stared at the symbols. They are changing. They are responding to him. The Guardian spoke again. Key accepted. Command limited. Prove mastery. The floor opened behind them with a soft hiss. A new corridor appeared, leading upward, toward the surface. Jean looked worried. It is sending us back outside. Ryan shook his head. Not outside. To the throat. To the place where users enter. They moved fast through the corridor. The lights followed them. The walls hummed louder. Like the Deathworld was waking fully now. As they walked, Ryan felt more connections forming in his mind. He could sense doors, pressure locks, heat vents, and the hunters, thousands of them, moving under the surface like blood cells. Tom whispered, Captain, do you feel them? Ryan nodded. Yes, they're the immune system. This planet is not just a world. It is a fortress. They reached a chamber with a wide glass window. Beyond it was the outside night. Storm still rolling. But now the clouds were brighter. Because ships filled the sky. Alien ships. A fleet. Dozens. Maybe more. Hovering above the storm line. Their lights were cold blue. Their weapons pointed downward. Sarah whispered. They came. The Council sent a fleet to finish us. Jean clenched his fists. They will burn the whole planet. Tom looked at Ryan. Captain, if they bomb this place, we die anyway. Ryan stared at the fleet through the window. He felt anger rise hot inside his chest. He could almost hear the Council voices laughing. Almost see their faces behind the drones. The Guardian spoke quietly. Users detected. Purge protocol requested. Ryan understood the words. The Council was not watching anymore. They were afraid now. And fear made them cruel. Tom pointed at a panel below the glass. Another hand mark. A control. Ryan stepped forward. The crown on his head pulsed. He placed his palm on the panel. The planet answered. The storm outside changed. Wind rose like a living wall. Lightning turned orange. The clouds formed a spiral around the alien ships. Their formation broke. One ship tilted hard. Another spun out of control. Sarah gasped. You did that. Ryan whispered. No, the planet did. It is defending itself. Jean looked up at the sky. Alien ships fired. Bright beams cut down into the storm. But the beams bent, twisted, as if the air itself refused to obey them. The Guardian voice returned. Calmer than ever. Mastery rising. Final trial approaching. Ryan turned from the window. His eyes sharp. We are not running anymore. We are taking control. And deep beneath them, the hunters began to scream in clicking rage. Because the planet had chosen a new master. And the Council had just declared war on a living Deathworld weapon. The alien fleet hung above the storm like cold metal teeth, and the Council believed the humans were still trapped like insects. But Verret Prime was no longer quiet. The whole world was awake now. The ground hummed like a giant engine. Orange light veins spread across mountains and valleys. Even the clouds moved with purpose. Ryan Hale stood in the control chamber with the crown on his head. He could feel the planet's systems like nerves in his own body. Doors, power lines, storm vents, hunter packs moving below, and a deep core voice waiting for command. Tom looked at the window and saw alien ships firing again. Blue beams stabbed into the storm. But the storm swallowed them, twisted them, threw them away like weak light. Sarah held the old helmet close. Tears mixed with ash on her face. Captain, the Council is trying to kill us. And they are scared. Jean whispered. They should be. The Guardian voice echoed from the walls. Final trial begins. Claim full command, or lose everything. A new panel rose from the floor. It was larger than the others, covered in human symbols. and in the center, a simple word glowed orange. Authorize. Ryan stared at it. His heart beat hard under heavy gravity. He knew what this was. Not a tool. Not a shield. This was a weapon decision. Tom stepped beside him. Captain, if we do not do it, they will keep firing until the planet breaks. Sarah looked into Ryan's eyes. If you do it, you might become what they feared. A human with a world as a weapon. Gene tightened his grip on his metal bar. They sent us here to die. They made this choice first. Ryan breathed slow. He remembered the council smile. He remembered the falling pod. He remembered the hunter's ring in the dark. He remembered the human bones in the chamber. The missing teams. The silent deaths. He placed his palm on authorize. The crown pulsed bright, and the planet answered with a sound like thunder under the ground. Orange light flooded the chamber. Symbols raced across the walls in fast lines. The guardian voice changed. No longer cold. Now it sounded almost alive. Command accepted. Master confirmed. Forge awakened. Outside, the storm exploded upward. A tower of swirling clouds rose into the sky. Lightning turned gold-orange, and the air itself became a shield. The alien fleet tried to hold formation, but gravity shifted around them. Their ships pulled sideways. Engines screamed. Metal groaned. Some ships collided in panic. The council officers on those ships shouted orders. Fire again. Fire everything. They launched missiles. They fired beams. They flooded the sky with death. Vera Prime answered with silence first. Then the clouds opened. Not like weather. Like doors. From inside the storm came shapes. Huge. Dark. Ancient. Covered in orange glowing lines. They were not rocks. Not creatures. Not storms. They were ships. Sleeping warships hidden inside the cloud sea. Buried in the sky itself. Waiting for the key. Tom whispered with shaking breath. Those are human designs. Old, but impossible. Sarah stared. The Deathworld was a hangar. Jean laughed once. A broken sound. They sent humans into a weapon vault. The ancient ships moved slow at first, then faster. Their lights brightened. Their systems awakened, and they formed a wall between the council fleet and the planet. The council ships fired. The ancient ships did not dodge. They absorbed the attack like it was rain. Then one ancient ship answered with a single pulse. A quiet orange wave moved through space. And 3 council ships went dark at once. Engines dead, weapons silent, drifting like broken shells. The rest of the fleet froze. Fear spread through them faster than any signal. Because they understood. They were not fighting humans. They were fighting the Forge. Ryan stepped closer to the window. His voice was calm, heavy, final. He spoke one message into the open channel the planet provided. His words went out across every ship, every drone, every council screen. You sent humans to a Class 15 death world to erase us. But nothing happened like you expected. You did not make a grave. You made a throne. The council fleet began to retreat. Ships turning away, running from the storm, running from the awakened ancient warships. But Ryan did not chase. He did not need to, because the galaxy had already seen the truth. Humans do not die in hell. Humans learn it. Humans claim it. And deep inside Varric Prime, the hunters screamed once more. Not in rage now, but in obedience. Because the death world had found its master. And humanity had just returned to the stars with a planet-sized weapon behind them.